Welcome to the Chelsea FanCast, powered by celery, fueled by Guinness, or fueled by Guinness, powered by celery. It doesn't really matter as long as you get them both down your neck. I am Stamford Chidge, and the name of tonight's show is Meh City. Chelsea FanCast number 1130. And I'm welcomed by the absolutely gorgeous Jonathan Kydd.
Lovely to be on the show after another weekend's loss.
I know. It was a bit meh, wasn't it? We'll get into all of that later. But of course, we've also got Jonathan. Who have we got?
Hi-oh, Silver! Away!
Away!
Where is Tonto? That's all we need to know. That's a question of the day.
I really do not know. I don't know. I wonder who in the Chelsea FanCast kind of universe, who would Tonto be? Who would Tonto be, do you think? I haven't decided yet, so this is an open. Everybody can play.
Tony Glover.
No,
he's more pony than horse, given his
fighting talk. Fighting talk. Shetland
very
pony.
Nice you know I love Glover.
Shetland pony, maybe. Which they
yeah.
No, I'm getting it on the X.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't have that. Yes, so there we go. Yes, of course, it was the FA Cup semi-final in honour of our new owners. Semi-final on Saturday. Of course, we were all there, and we will tell you all about it very, very shortly. Of course, part 2, we're going to be looking ahead to the Arsenal tomorrow night's big match. But there you go. Anyway, as ever, do not forget, not that you would, but you can watch the show. Watch and learn. Watch with Mother. That used to be a program in the 50s. I wasn't born then, but I'm told this on good authority. But anyway, watch with the FanCast people on YouTube. Also, we go live and direct to our Facebook page. But of course, we always still do it on the internet streaming site, which is called Mixlr, which is you can find us at chelsea-fancast.mixlr.com. And of course, we release it as a podcast on all the good podcast platforms, starting with the Acast and work your way down from there. And of course, we do this every Monday and Friday live. Exactly. As live as we can possibly be. And of course, the great thing about Mixlr and YouTube and Facebook is there is a chat facility. So you can basically slag us off when we're talking nonsense or even contribute in a nice way to the show. It's up to you, really. And of course, you can follow us on every single possible social. Well, I'm lying. Most of them anyway. At Chelsea FanCast. Now, the reason I mentioned the chat room is because we do something else. We have a Discord group. And the Discord group is fantastic. I'm getting increasingly sick and fed up to the back teeth with X in particular, which is an absolute cesspit of stupidity. But Discord is not like that. The reason why is because all the people that are in the Discord group can be found in our Patreon site. You see, it's the one privilege that they are afforded for bunging us a few quid every month. If you would like to bung us a few quid every month, it would be lovely. But we will love you still if you don't. But if you do want to, it's patreon.com/Chelsea FanCast. And if you do, and if you want one, I will send you a Kerry Dixon mini banner, a replica of the one that hangs up at the Matthew Harding end. And as I said, you can join our Discord group. Now, something more, I was going to say, Jonathan, fungible. But these are not fungible goods. These are tangible goods, aren't they? This, not that pillock on the left, but these are tangible goods, aren't they? Not fungible.
That's Dan in the background.
It is. Dan is in the background. Well spotted. Yes.
Yes, these are tangible. Yes. Highly tangible and highly attractive and sought after, one might even say.
There were a few at Wembley on Saturday. That's
get them now, or they may go up in price.
They may indeed. Hurry up, as somebody very famous once said. So you can get basically we've knocked up and knocked out these. If they sell Connor, we riot T-shirts, which are a thing of beauty, unlike the fashion model wearing it with the pint of Guinness there. Enough said about that. The better. If you don't like a T-shirt, you can get a mug. You can get an If They Sell Connor, we riot mug. Either a nice white one or one with blue insides and a blue handle. They're absolutely beautiful, even if I do say it myself. Now, the easiest way to do this All the information is on our website, chelseafancast.com/categories/merchandise. But if you want to order one, the thing to do is to email the Chelsea special @gmail.com. Tell us what you want. So I want your t-shirt size, or whether you want a blue or a white mug, and you have to have your address, and then you can pay via PayPal. Now, the t-shirts are 25 quid, including postage packaging in the UK, 28 quid in Europe, 30 quid in North America. We're still trying to figure out other places like Australia. I'll get on it. Tracking Tim down is like getting an audience with the Pope. The mugs are 15 quid, 18 quid, and 20 quid in the UK, Europe, and North America. So there you go. And of course, you pay by PayPal, as I said, and the PayPal email is the same one. It's the Chelsea special @gmail.com. And if you do pay via PayPal, which of course you'll have to, because that's the only way we're selling them, do not forget to select the friends and family option. Otherwise, they take a nasty fee from us, which is completely not how it's supposed to work. No, not at all. So there you go. They are, as I said, a thing of beauty. I'm rather proud of them, and I'm very fond of them. And I would love you all to get one too. Now, as I said, we'll be talking about the Arsenal match, previewing it in part 2. But before we do that, we're going to have a look back to a rather Saturday against City right after this. It was a rather bizarre day on Saturday, as far as I was concerned. I mean, it was absolutely lovely to be with my young nephew for his first semi-final in the FA Cup. Of course, I had this weird pact with him, because had Chelsea beaten City, I wasn't going to be able to go. I'm going to be up in Birmingham with my best mates watching the cricket. So he was on the promise of a guaranteed FA Cup final ticket. So you can imagine his excitement. But we had a lovely day out. It's always lovely being with him. I even managed to feed him this time, which was an advancement on the final of the Caribou.
Is he like a small bird that you have to drop things into his mouth?
No, he's more like a very large vulture that eats raw meat. But having said that, he was the one that had the vegetarian pizza, so I don't know. But anyway, so that was all very lovely. I mean, it was just very weird. I mean, it was so disappointing, and yet, there was so much to be on reflection, because I watched it when not when I got home, because I was too tired. I watched it on Sunday, and actually, the reality is, to start on a positive note, it was a really good performance. I thought Poch's tactics were spot on. We took it to them. We went long and wide, and we were really good in the transition. I mean, it has to be said, City were very leggy, I thought. And of course, that means that they were there for the taking. But we were the better side for much of the game. It was very, very, very like the Caribou Cup final in a way, apart from the horrible extra time. But we, and a certain Nicolas Jackson in particular, could not, JK, finish a shit.
Very well said, Chidge. Very well said. Yes, there was no bowel movement at all, was there?
None. Constipated and then some.
Completely. I mean, we talked about this before. He's so exasperating, is Jackson, isn't he? Because he gave Walker a run for his money. He's a really swift chap.
Had him on toast, mate.
Yeah, several accounts. Having said, I think Walker shouldn't really have been playing. He was so knackered. He'd given his all in the 120 minutes, which they should have won. Hats off to Ancelotti for once
Roy
again.
Harper.
To Ancelotti for once again eking out a win out of no shots, only one shot on goal. Which
that was funny. That was, wasn't it? We did enjoy that when we were talking about it on Friday, weren't we?
We did. But my dismay with watching Jackson play is all 3 chances that he missed, he's done before in exactly the same way, and you think, have they not practiced this thing of going around the goalkeeper and firing in, or even just finding an opportunity to do that, because he keeps making the same mistake. And this was the worst platform, the worst environment, the worst stage to make that kind of
Well, he cost us a place in the cup final. Let's not beat around the bush here.
Entirely. And once again, we're thinking if there was a proper striker there, even one, age 32, who wasn't doing
even an improper striker.
It's interesting to see that, to my horror, that Aubameyang has scored 29 goals for Marseille.
No way! Boomerang has scored goals?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
He's having an unbelievably excellent season.
That's great knowledge, JK.
Yeah. And he's scoring.
Did you even watch Marseille this season, Chidge?
Funnily, yes, I said that because I've been watching them. So you just think, what is it about us that just doesn't make strikers work?
Well, the thing is, JK and Dan, I will bring you in, I promise. I that has been so true before when we didn't create anything. Basically the strikers were strangers to the rest of the team.
Yeah,
but
true.
we don't. We create huge chances for him. And I think the irony is, Dan, about Jackson. Most of his game is actually decent. His movement's good. He's got pace to burn, as JK was saying. He had Walker on toast. He sets things up. He brings players into the game. Yeah. He's got it all. But I mean, I remember having a chat with Kerry. Do you remember earlier in the season when he did a Kalou? He put one over the bar from about a yard out. I was on the phone to Kerry a day or two after that, and Kerry was, in fits about it. He said, "Mate, he's not a striker. He's not a striker." I said, "Well, we all know that, mate. He's a winger." No. He said it's instinct. He said somebody who was a striker who could score goals would have just hit that right. Not like hit it on the wrong part of his foot so it went over the bar. And this is what worries me about Jackson. In other words, you either got it or you ain't got it. And I don't think he's got it.
He hasn't got it now. I mean, as I say, he led the press really well, intelligently.
Because he's just not natural.
No. Yeah, but it's where we are now. People keep harking back to where we were. It's where we are now. There's a lot of kind of hysteria on Twitter because we fall, and that's where we are, and that's kind of the level we're at. I thought Jackson, he intensity, the press was great, his pace was great, he did a lot of very good things, hold up play, everything, link up play, great. But you say his finishing was appalling. But maybe he's a rough diamond. He had one purple patch shirt. Was it Villarreal we signed him from?
Yeah,
purple patch last season. So we spent 30 odd million on him. There is a player in there. There is a talent in there. We can refine it, hone his skills. He knows what he's doing. He's got a lot of very good assets. But is he going to be our 20, 25 goal season striker?
Well, I think it's a different argument. I just think he is right. You will remember this because we're all men of a certain age here. Do you remember, Dan? I mean, this is quite laughable in the context, actually, what we're talking about. But Glenn Hoddle, infamously, when he was the England manager, said Michael Owen is not a natural goal scorer, which was utter bollocks because Michael Owen was a super. That was Glenda doing his. Actually, I'm a better natural goal scorer than Michael Owen. I think that's what was going on. But there is a point there. Some people are just natural goal scorers. They just know. They sniff it out. They just know, and their technique is sharp because it's natural. They don't have to think about it. We moan about the defenders. We've got this mix of defenders who look completely uncomfortable with the ball and defenders who look very comfortable with the ball. I think it's the same thing. You remember when you were a kid, there were kids who were very comfortable with the football and those that were. I was definitely one of those that wasn't, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, your team.
And I think, and yet I have mates who just look like they were born with the football. That's what you want with a natural goal scorer. I don't think you can teach that to him. This is what my worry is. I don't think this can be trained into him.
In world football, how many natural goal scorers are there actually instinctive? Haaland, Kane. I mean, you look at Liverpool's Salah, maybe, but again,
although he's a bit hot and cold, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, natural born strikers are very hard to find.
Kerry was obviously.
Kerry. I mean, Drogba arguably wasn't.
Natural finisher.
Costa wasn't. You want the Haaland probably at the moment. He'll be 6-yard box poacher. Very rarely misses.
Lineker's another one.
Yeah, exactly. And we're talking what's that, 3 in 40 years? Haaland's very rarely will do much else but score a goal. That's what you want. There's your 30 goals. I don't think Jackson is going to get you 30 goals, but he might get you 20, 25 goal scoring contributions, whatever the bollocks as people say these days for us. And up with another striker. He's carried the striking pressure all season. Yeah. He's had no one really to help him out. Brozier's not good enough, and Kunku we barely seen. So for his first year in the Premiership at 22, 23 years old, he's carried the complete burden of
yes.
Chelsea number 9 as it is. And it's been difficult. And a team that's struggled, a team that's had lots of injuries, a team that's not really had a balanced first 11, hasn't had a chance to build relationships particularly. And that that's where we are. So the
JK,
whole multitude of reasons why, and maybe within Kunku, he might have got 10 more goals. Who knows?
I was going to say, I think he would be much better in a 2, but rather than on his own. JK, Dan's making a really eloquent defense of Jackson there. And I have to admit that I am just particularly miffed for 2 reasons, really. One is that he cost us the cup final. That's miffed me, obviously. But also, I'm still kind of a bit sour about the antics of the penalty the week before, which is possibly clouding my judgment. But I think Dan makes some good points there. There are mitigating and contextual circumstances around all of this. But, mate, I've got to be honest. As a striker, he's championship.
I think, as I've said before, the bar is so low that we're now looking for positives in a situation that, as you said, Dan, it's now rather than then. But if it was then, he wouldn't get a sniff of a place in the team. But because we're sort of all willing to accept that there is some kind of, if we're willing to accept there is some kind of progress in the side, which I have to say, I think there is as the season's going on. I think that you sort of go, you blow hot and cold with him. You think, well, at least he's, as I'm afraid I said in my fan bite, actually, if it was all down to effort, my gran who mows the lawn with great expertise and effort, she'd be playing, so it's not all down to effort. It's down to it's skill that is misapplied. And we're analysing that rather than thinking. We tended to analyse how excellent a player was and look at that. We're now looking at somebody's errors, which is a bizarre thing to be doing with Chelsea, and yet is typical of the season, really. I mean, I'm absolutely in agreement with you. He is a championship standard, and yet there is a moment of excellence. He did, I think we talked about this in the Everton game. He did a wonderful thing where he spun somebody, completely left them for dead, gave the ball to somebody, ran into the penalty area and missed it completely.
But he's great at everything but putting the ball in the net. Yeah. That's the point, isn't it? Yeah. But I said championship. I'm not doing it to be deliberately provocative or snidey or rude. No. His striking against City was championship level. You see it all the time, don't you? Really plucky championship side giving a really good Premier League time, a massive game of it, and they'd win it if they were able to put the ball on the back of the net, but their strikers just aren't up to it. We see it all the time, don't we? Apart from bloody Coventry yesterday, who were fantastic.
Yeah.
You see it?
Well, we'll probably buy a couple of Coventry players now.
And then they'll be rubbish, won't they?
They'll be absolutely terrible. Yeah, of course they will.
But he is good at everything but putting the ball on the net.
But he did indeed cost us the title. And unfortunately, the other aspect that we'll get onto, won't we, was
do it now.
Was the penalty, which was clearly a penalty. But my theory, it actually ties in with the Nottingham Forest situation, because I think we saw 2 of the supposedly best referees in the country making decisions that VAR were reluctant to go along with because they'd made the decision. And that is the kind of status and deferring thing that I've been going on about for the last 5 years. More than that, it's the fact that you're supposed to do what the man in the centre says, rather than it being a team effort. Now, the very fact that Oliver gave a goal kick tells you that he never saw it.
Yeah, absolute shit.
If he never saw it, he should have then, if a bloke gets in his ear and says, actually, it may have been a handball, he should pay attention to that and respond accordingly, either go and look at the monitor or whatever. But he didn't. He just gave the goal kick. So therefore, they went, oh, it's on the field. He saw it as just being that it wasn't very important. And the same as Taylor yesterday at Forest did this thing from miles away. Taylor, the arrogant bastard. He went ball, and from all the pictures we saw, Young completely took him out. absolutely took him out for the third one. I thought a couple of the others could have been penalties, but that was absolutely clear cut penalty. And it's Taylor. You can imagine them going, "Oh, the boss has said no, it's not a penalty. We won't give it." Which of course is. I mean, if they're trying to get hold of the conversation, aren't they? Which I think would speak volumes about Taylor's attitude towards refereeing and his fellow refs at VAR. Sorry, Dan, you wanted to say something.
I was going to say, on the very least, Oliver should have gone to look at the monitor at the very least.
Yeah.
Because, I didn't, because while I was sitting, I couldn't tell. But then obviously,
I didn't check.
And I've seen multiple replays from multiple angles, and Grealish's hand is wide, and it strikes his hand. That is the whole point of.
Worse than that, Dan, his arm comes down towards the ball as if he's trying to stop it going through.
I just don't get it. I mean, it just the thing is VAR. I keep saying this before. VAR is an animate object. It's the people running it, not the actual system. Because most go to European football week in, week out is pretty much faultless. Champions League is faultless. Big competitions is faultless. The idiots here, the referees here, are too reliant on VAR to get them out of trouble, and they're all shit.
Yeah, but it doesn't get them out of trouble if they don't bloody do it properly.
Yeah, but I'm saying in terms of like Forest, should have had at least 2 penalties. Maybe one was contentious with the handball. There's 2 clear fouls. We've lost a potential cup final place because it was a handball, and some half-assed apology from what's his face, Howard Webb, doesn't really cut the mustard.
That's rubbish.
There needs to be a massive overhaul. The PGMO are the biggest single stakeholder probably outside the Premier League that are involved, and they're not fit for purpose. None of them are fit for purpose. I hate it. It's killed the game. Football's not what we used to enjoy. Raw emotion's gone. You can't celebrate a goal because you just don't know if he was offside last week. They're going to give a bloody free kick. It's just one of the worst inventions in the game. Goal line tech, great, because that's subjective. Over the line, not brilliant. Offside, the commentary goal. I mean, offside really by what? A pubic hair. It's ridiculous. It's
I mean, Dan, we're kind of making this a cough podcast. Maybe we'll. No, it's okay because I think it was. I think it kind of segues very much into what our frustrations about what happened on Saturday and VAR in general and referees in general. But I remember saying, I'm sure you'll remember this, JK. I said early on the introduction of VAR, particularly for offsides, what they don't take account of is the frame rate of the cameras. You move that half a frame forward, or back, or the bottom line was, you've got the Man United player running back, you've got the Coventry player he's running back. They're both running back, but in opposite directions, if you see what I mean. So, half a frame in it, and he's not offside. But I mean, the fact that it looked like their toes were level. I mean, what the fuck is all that about? And they've just wiped out arguably one of the greatest moments in FA Cup history. I mean, it just makes me think, why do we bother going anymore? Just to go back to Chelsea for a second, and I was saying this to Sash on the way out. I said, the real disappointment is we didn't score a goal. And he said, well, what do you mean? Apart from the obvious that we might have won. I said, at the end of the day, that's really why we go. So we get that opportunity to go completely mental for about 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds. That's really why we go. That's what it's all about. I mean, they've just denied that those idiots, with their slightly, neurodivergent technology, have denied Coventry fans one of the greatest moments in their lives. I think it's fucked football. Fucked it totally for me. Dan.
Just very quickly, if they'd been the other way around, interesting to see what they would have done. There's no way they wanted Coventry in the final. I'm sure there is some sort of, in the back of the mind, there is something that innately tells them couldn't give it, because you saw the joy on their faces, and I was delighted from as well.
Yeah, me. I was leaping up around the sitting room.
For them would be like Drogba in Munich kind of moment. Yeah. They were just and then it just pulled away. I mean, if it'd been clearly offside, fine, but it was so marginal that benefit the doubt should have gone to the striker.
This is brilliant. Sam, I hope. Well, I'm not sure if we've met or not, but I think I love you. This is just brilliant. I was very inarticulately trying to explain exactly this. Shall I read it out for those that are listening in black and white? It's the frame they think it is. They draw the line on the pixel they think the defender is. They draw the line on the pixel they think the attacker is. How is that objective? Spot on. Spot on, Sam. Marvellous. Anyway.
Automated offside, which they're bringing in, aren't they? That the better.
Yeah, but will that be that will it be as forensic as the annoyance that we get at the moment?
I don't know. To be fair, I think clear. They should have a time limit, clear and obvious. If it's not clear and obvious in 25, 30 seconds, they go with the.
Well, that's a long time, 25,
if
30
it's
seconds.
automatic, if it's a computer, it will be
Yeah,
instantaneous.
I mean, whatever the
So it
timing
won't be
is.
the same
Yeah.
pain, because you'll see immediately he's offside because the computer has given it.
Yeah.
So he will give the offside and you accept it. So there won't be that awfulness of waiting and thinking you've scored. You go, oh, what a shame, he's offside. The attacker may not necessarily then progress because he's been given offside.
Yeah, you won't get the disappointment. And I mean, you know, the linesman clearly thought it was onside, although, of course, they are told not to put their flag up anymore. But, you know, if he'd have really thought it was offside, he'd have put his flag up. But, I don't know. Anyway, that's the end of the Covey break. We should call this. We should have a new segment in the show when we go completely off tangent and talk about something completely unrelated to what we're supposed to be talking about. In honour of Coventry being robbed of one of the greatest moments in the history, we will now call it the Covey break. I like it.
I'd like that.
I like it. So where would we talk about? Chelsea. Yeah. Do you know what? I mean, the interesting thing, we just talked about it with hindsight and a bit of watching it on TV, etc., etc., etc. At the time, I was like, you know, why isn't that a corner? Because I don't know where you boys were, but if you're looking at the goal, behind the goal, right? If you're behind the goal, looking out towards the pitch, I was towards the left by the corner flag. So it was obvious it had hit somebody.
Yeah.
Where were you, mate? Sorry.
We couldn't tell that it hit anybody.
You were above behind, yeah.
Yeah, but on the angle by the corner flag, but above.
Oh right. Oh, you were above me. You were above me.
Yeah, but we just saw it come through. We had no idea that it had hit anybody.
Well, no, I thought it must have hit somebody. So why hadn't he given a corner? And then it suddenly says they're doing a VAR check, and I'm, well, what the fuck's that? I had no idea it hit his hand. Dan.
Yeah, I was to the right of the goal, and it definitely deflects off something because I saw the ball change from the path when it left Cole Palmer's foot. So I thought at least it was a corner. That's why I thought, like you, it was like, oh, what they did, what they're waiting for. Then obviously we saw again. VAR, lack of communication. It took about 30 seconds to put something up on the board, didn't it? They were checking for a penalty. Why can they not do it like that? It's just everything about it is so wrong, so fundamentally wrong about football. But minimum corner, because it definitely deflected away from the goal after Palmer's took the free kick.
Well, I also think we would have won that had that been allowed, because definitely. I mean, you know, City were really leggy. Let's be under no illusion here. And I think conceding a penalty like that, like a slightly, you know, dubious one, should we say, would have sucked the life out of them. They were really leggy. Because I mean, De Bruyne getting man of the match was hysterical, because I thought he was pony for most of the match.
Also, announcing it with about 5 minutes to go.
Well, they always do that.
So disrespectful. You know, what would have happened if we'd scored? What would they do then? And then second half, extra time, somebody scored. Palmer scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
They're going to give it to then. Still
on the other hand, it was awarded by Jermaine Jenas, so therefore it doesn't really count because he's an idiot, or Jermaine Penis, as we used to hysterically call him.
Did he think it was a penalty, though? I think, to be fair,
no, he didn't think it was a penalty. The only person that I heard on the media aggressively saying it was a penalty was Danny Mills. Actually, on I don't know what it was on. It was something on TalkSport. I think I might have been listening on the way. You know, when I got in the car on the way home, he was on some show and he was going on about it. So well done, Danny Mills. Oh, I don't know. I mean, look, I thought. I mean, you know, as a whole, I thought Oliver was dreadful. Actually, I mean, he gave us nothing all game. I mean, the number of times we got fouled, nothing. Didn't even give a free kick. The minute we touched one of them, foul. I mean, typical. I mean, we see it also. I mean, we're almost blasé now because we see it every week. But I thought he was dreadful, I have to say. And it did make one think that maybe the Suits wanted a City versus United final.
It was one of his worst performances. I agree. I've normally been a big fan of his because he tends to be seen to be thinking it through. But he's lost that giving an advantage, which I said Tierney brought back in against the Toffees the other day. So. But Tierney is in the same. He's made out of the same material as Taylor and Oliver, which is they're very much I am the boss here, and I'm afraid I think it makes the VAR referee not quake, but he defers completely to what's going on the pitch, rather than coming in and offering another angle on something, and that is just absurd.
It is indeed. It is indeed. I mean, look, you know, it's hugely disappointing. Well, we'll do this at the end, really. I want to talk about some more positive, actually. I thought Petrovic made some really good saves. I thought Petrovic, Silver, Chalobah. Silver and Chalobah looked great in defence again. Gusto was superb until he went off. Moises was all right. Moises, get out of here!
There he is.
Get out of here! He was all right. I thought, no, Moises was all right. Gallagher was great. You'd expect that from Gallagher. They all did okay.
Never stopped running. He never
stopped.
And strangely, occasionally in some strange positions, he put him on the wing a lot. But I think that was to try and counteract the fact that they were trying to stop Walker making those attacks down the right, which he's so good at.
Yeah.
But he found himself on the wing on several occasions, and I think it's just a Poch tactical thing. But did we need Enzo? Enzo didn't appear to me a great game, you know.
I want to talk about Enzo. You were reading my mind, JK. We must have been doing this show together for a long time.
Couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it looks like it, but I do want to talk about Enzo. He drives me up the wall. But I mean, look, I thought he was poor. I thought he was ineffectual. I think he gives the ball away for fun. But the back of my mind, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm not convinced he's fit. I think he's carrying this hernia injury, and it's clearly affecting him. And I said on Friday, I said I would not pick him because if he's not fit, don't pick him. What does Poch do? Picks him. He's not fit. He is a shadow of the player that we had last season. He really is. So I don't think he's right. Dan.
After about 60 minutes, he was literally blowing out his arse. He can't run properly. I was watching him. His running looks very kind of...
Mate, he runs like I walk at the moment.
Yeah.
Have you seen my limp?
No, I haven't actually. I thought that was Guinness.
Not good.
Oh.
Cheeky bastard.
Your limp what, Chidge?
My Achilles, mate. I mean, people.
I've been very sympathetic about that.
Yeah, people have mentioned it on Saturday. They said, "God, Chidge, your limp is rather pronounced." They said.
I just thought he looked slow. He looked cumbersome. He couldn't really run properly. I think at one point, he lost the ball in midfield. It was like he was in slow motion. The hernia is clearly affecting him. He's obviously having injections to play. I think if he wants to play for the is it Copa America in the summer, he needs to have the operation now. Get fit, go to Copa America, and come back. Well, because fairness, Everton, arguably our best game of the season, he wasn't playing. He's clearly a very good player, but he's injured and it's affecting everything he does. He should be on the pitch.
I agree entirely, and I don't think he and Moises are suited anyway. They're Moises. I think they're too similar, or they don't really. It doesn't work with them together, in my humble opinion. And in the Everton game, Gallagher and Caicedo were brilliant together, and that's why I picked them in my team. So Poch, you should listen to your Uncle Chidge, mate, because I get it right and you don't. Basically, Dan.
Yeah, I was going to say, not as a double. I think Enzo slightly further forward, and Moises with maybe Lavia would have been the plan, and then Enzo played maybe number 10 or number 8, not double 6.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, but you could say that for so many positions in this damn side, can't you? I mean, Nkunku's the obvious other one. Mudryk. What can you say, JK? I'll leave this one to you.
I mean, what a hideous performance. I described him on my fan bite as a salmon looking for a stream. He just ran about like a kind of, as if he didn't know what the fuck he was supposed to be doing, or, and those two, the corner and the free kick he took at the end was just.
He was culpable. He was culpable for the goal.
Yes, he was, as he was for the goal against Liverpool as well, because he did a kind of non-header against Virgil van Dijk. So but also, didn't you feel, unfortunately, the subs contributed to the goal? I'm afraid I felt that was the case. I felt, poor old Desazi for all his supposed abilities to get.
Why didn't he bring Gilchrist on?
Indeed, you might as well have brought Gilchrist on. He has much more energy. We all around it, everybody around me, when he made the subs, we actually all went, oh. There was a kind of, rather than going, oh, good, this is interesting, to inject some energy. And you feel if he's going to bring Sterling on, perhaps he should have brought him on a bit earlier.
Yeah.
So at least something else is happening. Madueke was pretty good. You've got to hand it to Madueke. He defends excellently. He really does. He puts in a big shift, but he wasn't making a great deal of progress against down the right wing. But I think he's another one we need to be
Nurture.
Forgiving of, absolutely, because I think
You won't like my new chant about him then.
Oh, tell me. Yeah.
Okay.
He snatches the ball.
I'm going to wait until Dan wanted to come in. I can remember my chant.
Yeah, I was going to say, as soon as Disasi came on, he's too big to get up against a really skillful player like Doku. Because Doku had him on toast as soon as he came on.
Doku's a good player, isn't he?
He's great. But he's not a fullback to Disasi. But you think the ball, Mudryk, the ball came across goal. There's 2 or 3 chances to clear it before Silver scored. So I think to blame Mudryk is a little bit harsh.
Oh no, I can absolutely blame him, mate, because he wasn't. Cucurella was pointing to the to what would have been City's right wing, saying, "Get over there, cover it," and he's like wandering around with his head in the clouds.
I didn't see that.
Oh mate, I mean, I wouldn't normally go all in on somebody if I didn't think they deserved it, and I've seen the footage. I watched it again, and he was definitely culpable. He went to sleep.
He's like mud poor one than mud rich.
Well, indeed. Yeah. Now, back to Madueke. I will talk about the laughing at the end while Silver was in tears. In fact, I'll talk about it now. I mean, I to be honest, I'm actually really not that bothered about that. I mean, for fuck's sake, I think there are worse things to dig people out. I do think though, he like Jackson is a walking ego, and he is writing checks. His ego is writing checks that his talent can't cash yet. But I'm with you, JK. I think there is a talent in there. But what I worry about him, and I mean, we had that incident earlier in the year, didn't we, when he went out clubbing when he was currently undergoing rehabilitation. But he went out clubbing, didn't he? And was put on the naughty step. I have a horrible. Somebody needs to get hold of him and rein him in, because he's a very modern type of football player. And it's all about the look and the boots and all of that. He hasn't done anything yet. He's achieved nothing. And I was just kind of looking at his little headscarf, and he's always, because I watched back on the TV, and his little kind of blonde, little straggly bits, dreads, I suppose you call them, kind of hanging down. It looks $1 million. He looks the part, looks $1 million, but mate, you've got to do something first. You've got to win something. You've got to actually prove that you're as good, I know I sound like a horrible, grumpy old man here, but, come on. Anyway, my chant for, it's horrible, I'll be honest, for Madueke. Shit, Ronaldinho. You're just a shit Ronaldinho, because that's who he reminds me of. But Ronaldinho had the balls and the talent to back it up, didn't he? Remember that goal he scored against us for Barca when the whole ground went quiet?
How he did that was incredible, wasn't it?
Still don't know, mate.
180 on his ankle. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think there's a talent there with Madueke, and as you're right, JK, he needs nurturing, but he needs to get this other bullshit out of his game, Dan. For me,
yeah, I mean, to be fair, he polarizes opinion across social media, doesn't he? I think anybody has a bad game now, they're immediately coasted out on X. I mean, I was reading on the train on the way back. I was like, "Jeez." Yeah. He laughed with a mate. I mean, I couldn't give a shit.
You mean that incident? Yeah.
I mean, Thiago Silva fine. He's last game at Wembley. He's lost a chance going to final. Totally get it. Obviously, what's come out today about him not renewing his contract. I understand why. But Madueke, laugh with a mate. I mean, Christ Almighty, get a life. He's fine. Yeah. It's ridiculous. People just so petulant about stuff. I don't give a shit. I mean, I could barely see him laughing anyway. That little micro clip was on doing the rounds.
I get it. We're all upset. We think that I mean, this is all part of the thing that they expect the players to be like the fans, and it's not the case anymore. I mean, even back in the days when we all think it was better, like the 80s or whatever, or the 90s. You talk to Kerry and some of those ex players, they'd like be really pissed off at the end of the whistle. Then they'll go and get pissed. I mean, they were like us in that respect in those days, I suppose. But I don't have a problem with that. I mean, he's probably a mate of Grealish's. They probably go back a long way. Grealish probably said something funny. Why, what the hell? Get a life. There are far. What Jackson did in the bloody match was worse than what Madueke did there, in my humble opinion. Madueke didn't cost us the final. Jackson did. So, but he does. I think he needs to get this flashiness out of his game. He's not Ronaldinho. He's just a naughty boy. So there you go. Anyway, to wrap things up, a couple of questions for you, really. I mean, well, just one really. But I mean, it was frustrating. I mean, we were the better side in a final again. Poor decisions went against us again. This is happening in so many times in finals and big matches at Wembley. Poor finishing let us down again. And I feel that because City were a bit leggy, it was a massive missed opportunity again. And it kind of left me, I don't know, a bit kind of, I don't know what the word is actually. Is it winsome? What does winsome mean, Jonathan?
A bit fey.
No, not like that. Rueful.
Yes.
Rueful. I was just thinking, I think a lot of this was because I was with Sash. He's 17, getting nearly 18. That's his first semi-final. He was obviously really looking forward to having my ticket for the final if we'd have got through. And I was kind of, actually, do you know what? I'm such an, JK, you'd be proud of me, my inner geek. I can't show you this really because it's not Zoom and I don't have share the screen. But I was bored yesterday and also rendered completely unable to move because I'd been on the allotment all day fighting with a polytunnel. So I was so stiff. I literally couldn't move. And I got bored when I was writing the script. And what I did, I've compiled a list of every... I nicked this off Transfer Nicht, and they list every round we've gone out of in the FA Cup since 19. Well, actually, they only went to 1931, funnily enough, and I've gone back to beginnings to 05, 06, and I put in some of the semi-finals because they obviously stopped where we got knocked out. So I put in all the semi-finals, trying to work out because I couldn't remember how many I'd been to and what I'd seen. I did the same for the League Cup, And I've just been to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I think. You lot have been to more, no doubt. But my point is that I think we kind of, have got used to doing it every year, so got a bit blasé. If we don't go to one for a long, long time, I'll be very sad, but I've been to loads, I've been there, done that. So I was kind of more thinking about how Sasha might feel and thinking, he might have missed out on it all and we might not get back to a final for years. I mean, we just don't know, do we? So, when do you think we might get another opportunity, JK?
Well, I'm being an optimist here, but I don't see why if they fill those positions and they start improving to the extent they've improved recently, we shouldn't do it next year. So it's obviously down to the luck of the draw as well. Yeah. So and we did very well in the FA Cup this year by drawing mostly championship sides, but both of whom, if they do get promoted, I fear will go straight down again unless they make some very well-considered purchases, transfers. I don't see why we shouldn't do okay next year. In one of the cup finals, at least, whether it's the FA Cup final.
I think it's just that we've been on such an incredible run. We've been in the final of the Carabao and the FA Cup. I mean, nearly every year for the last, 6, 7, 8 years.
Let's think of the positive. We've been to a semi-final and a final when we've had a really shit season. So, think what may happen if we have a really decent season, as long as we don't get drawn against the big guns. But we never know. We might then put in a shift. I mean, I have moments when I actually think they played some very good football. There was, as I said, that fabulous moment when they played out from the back beautifully. And Enzo, unfortunately, just couldn't control it in the area. Not Enzo, Moises. There he couldn't control it in the penalty area.
There he is.
I sort of get what Poch is trying to do because I was thinking, oh, God, they fucking do it from the back again. Oh, God. And yet there were several moments when same time, they actually, it was very skillfully, about 4 or 5 passes that are in the penalty area. And you think, well, that's clearly what he's up for doing. I just think he has so many things to improve for me before I become affectionate of him. I really would like him to be more involved with the fans. I think that's a major thing for me. I really would like him to come forward and greet us, particularly at away games. But perhaps that's something that will evolve if the team evolves, if the team plays better and scores and wins. But they've got to rectify this final third problem because the defense was better. They've worked out finally that you cannot play Desailly and Badiashile together. That's it. The Monaco twins, please. Whereas, and unfortunately, we'll have to get somebody instead of Silver. Chalobah has been really proving it for me that he's a class act. I thought he was really good yesterday, which makes sense because he's on an upward learning curve because he's played. He's got older and he's been playing in a side with some decent players around him. So initially, in fact, he's become a kind of elder statesman, and so he mustn't go. They mustn't get rid of Chalabar. But at the moment, isn't the whole finance thing is up in the air because of the fact that Mount is in this year coming, which actually means we may not have to sell as many people as we thought we did. So next season, therefore, may be slightly more. I don't know. The possibilities may be more than they have been this year.
Chalabar and Colwell as the centre backs going forward would be fine.
Colwell with his toe injury. Ye gods, how long does a toe injury take to recover? Oh goodness me! I bashed my toe when I was driving my scooter on a bollard. The bloke said to me, "Can't do anything about it. Put this bit of rubber between it." I was playing football at the weekend.
Sign him up, Dan.
I've also got if Fofana can stay fit, we've got a very, very good centre back in Fofana as well. If he can stay fit, I know he's missed best part of 2 years of injury.
I want him to come back. I've got a new chant for him. So remember the Talking Head Psycho Killer? No, too young.
Yeah.
Fofana, better run away.
I'm not sure about second line, Chidge.
That's how it goes in Psycho Killer.
I know, but you can't go better run away to your centre half.
We'll change it, but there's a genesis.
I've got it already. Better run. He can run all day.
Oh,
that's why you're a professional, JK.
I'm just an amateur, Dan. What do I know?
You're
just a shit Ronaldinho. Shit Ronaldinho. Dan, what did you want to say? Why were there balloons there, by the way?
I have no idea why they came up. It's like my birthday. I thought you put them up.
No, I have nothing to do with that.
It's really good. Perhaps it has a kind of reaction. I'll say we're all really good on the FanCast. Nothing.
No, we should have a tumbleweed thing for that.
We should. Yeah. We should go across.
No, I just talk about cup finals. You know, last year we had City twice, went out early stages, and you think either side of this ownership group, we've had a incredible going back to Conte. Lampard, all the managers have got to finals. We just had a terrifically bad performances. You think, you go back to the Sanchez Taylor handball, the Kovacic sending off. There's always been something that's kind of stopped us from winning. And I think this year we probably overachieved in the cup competitions. We've had a generous draws, but there's no reason to say we can't get next year, get injury free. Hopefully, that's the other thing we've got to sort out, our bloody injuries. I mean, another season of 66 injuries and Ben Chilwell fracturing his hair every other week. It's just not going to be good enough.
Yeah, I can't. Right, you might remember this, Dan. Did I go to the FA Cup semi-final against Crystal Palace?
If you did, I don't remember seeing you.
I don't even remember if I went
because we went to one of the pubs behind Wembley Stadium, so we didn't go to Victoria because it was a boiling hot day, wasn't it?
I don't remember if I went.
Hey, no, you're not away in America with Sarah?
No.
France anniversary?
No, it was.
Thinking you missed it for a reason.
Okay.
With Simon, there was something in my head saying you had a family event.
Yeah,
or something
maybe.
Like
mate, I don't remember, mate. But I mean, the thing is, just because I don't remember doesn't mean I wasn't there. If you know what I mean.
Because I was talking actually, because I saw nice guy Kenny outside Wembley. He was saying something like the 28th visit to Wembley in recent memory. The thing I think is now it's kind of lost its magic, not just because we've lost, because we're there so often. And I remember, semi-finals getting to Villa Park. Those were the good old days when you weren't at Wembley, every other round. So that's it's lost a bit of magic because it's been such a dreadful experience the last 8 visits, hasn't it?
Well, it has a bit. I mean, I was just kind of thinking, what was the last goal I saw a score in a final, and it was actually Eden Hazard's penalty against Man U. Because I mean, obviously, I missed the COVID finals. I wasn't at. I missed the Arsenal final,
Leicester,
Man City semi, the Leicester final. Those are all the COVID finals.
Yeah.
Palace, I really don't remember if I was there or not. I missed the League Cup final in 21-22 because it was still COVID-ish for me anyway. There wasn't a goal in the Man City League Cup final, as you remember.
Penalties.
Yeah. And of course, there wasn't a goal in the Liverpool final. So yeah, Eden Hazard's winner in 2018. It's unbelievable. Look, boys, I'm kind of with you on all of this. Actually, I know I sounded a bit miz about it, but I think that you're right, JK. Context is everything. We've been absolutely pony for the last couple of years, easily, and yet, we've still managed to get to the final of the Carabao Cup, where we were clearly the better team, and we should have put them away. And Liverpool are, supposed to be this great team under Klopp, and we went toe to toe again with arguably the best team in the world. Yes, they were a bit leggy, I know, but we should have won that match 2 or 3. Actually, if we'd have put those chances away, we'd have won comfortably. So this is the frustrating thing, isn't it? We're not really. I mean, it feels like we're miles away, but actually, maybe we're not quite as far away as we think we are, Dan.
I think we're miles away from challenging for City, Liverpool, Arsenal, the league.
Yeah. One-off matches.
One-off matches, I think we could beat anybody, but we don't. Listen, our fall from grace has been well documented over the last couple of years, completely out of the control of anybody, existential reasons. First year under new ownership, utter clusterfuck. We've come in, Pochettino. If he wasn't ex-Spurs, I think he'd be getting a lot more praise. I think he's ex-Spurs. We know Spurs are Spursy, and he's kind of everyone thinks he's made Chelsea Spurs. Chelsea are where we are because of what's happened to us in the bigger picture. I think we've won 4 of our last 7 games in the Premier League, 4th currently on form table. There are signs of improvement. You look at the last 4 games, United, Burnley, Everton and Sheffield United, minimum we would have wanted is 8 points. We've got 8 points. It's just the wrong way around. We should have beaten Burnley, Sheffield United and maybe drawn the other 2. So I don't think we're a million miles away from getting back to close where we need to be. Obviously, coming 5th, 6th, 7th is not really what Chelsea's about in the last 25 years, but we're getting there. Catalogue of injuries all season. It's difficult because if we get rid of Poch, we start again, and we need a bit of patience. We need a bit of kind of look at the bigger picture. What's happened to us since the albino scarecrow, put us into into trouble. So I don't know. I'm positive. I hate what's happening because it's not what we're used to, but it's where we are. But I'm positive there are some shoots there. It just might take another season to kind of get back to the levels we're at. Using Arsenal's example, it's taken Arteta 5 years to get Arsenal back to challenging.
Yeah, he did manage to win an FA Cup rather annoyingly against us, didn't he?
He did, but one trophy and the Charity Shield, 800 million. You can look at it 2 ways. But he's built Arsenal. They gave him time. They gave him patience. He's built a squad, and like it or not, they're a good side. And it might just be we're another year, 2 years away from challenging.
Well, and probably 4 or 5 players, I'd say.
Yeah, and no club's got a divine right to win. We had an incredible team, incredible players. We bought world-class players, international captains. We had an incredible team up until probably the Conte season when he worked miracles getting us from 10th to 1st. So ever since then, we've slowly but surely fallen off the pace. Recruitment's been poor, well over 100 points behind the title winners over those seasons. So the demise was, take out the European Cups. The demise has been on the cards for a long time.
In the league.
In the league. Yeah, I know. But as you say, in the Cup side, in
the Cup side, there's no better team in the country than us over the last kind of 6 to 10 years. Yeah. Right up to present day, if you think about it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to be controversial here. The Champions League got under Tuchel. We didn't fall behind for any significant amount of time. The only time we did, I think, was Porto, but I think with injury time, just about through. I don't know if that team would have had the balls or the know-how to come back from getting behind. Not trying to deride the victory because it was an incredible victory, but we had a bit of luck on the way, which you need to win competitions back like in 2012.
Cup competitions.
I just think the demise of Chelsea is easy to blame the new owners. Don't get me wrong, they've made some fucking horrific decisions, but we were on a downward spiral probably since mid 2016, 2017, Conte's second season. They've come and they've actually, They push us down the stairs. We're on the edge of the stairs. They push us down, and it's a long way up. The model they're using is very different to what we're used to.
Well, they've done what is a quite a tried and tested model. Really, it's some people don't like to go this way, others do, but they've kind of broken it apart. They've destroyed it in a sense to try and rebuild it. And maybe I mean, I don't know. We won't know this now. We won't know this for a few years, and maybe in 3 or 4 years' time, if we're still doing that, not being pensioned off, we'll be saying, "Oh, all right, okay, I see what that they had to do it," because just tweaking it and tinkering it may not have been the answer, particularly when you look at the financial stuff. But it's the Chinese have a word for it. We live in interesting times, Dan.
I was going to say, yeah, because I think they've built the club right foundations in every single level, which we didn't have. It's a very small management team, very small kind of management structure. They've had to build the club up in their eyes from the bottom up with proper solid foundations.
These guys did tear it all up. They did tear it all up.
I get that, but that's what they decided to do. I mean, whether Chet, Marina, Bruce wants to go, we'll never know. But
they had to go. They had to go.
And also, these guys are billionaires. They know what they're doing with money. All the loopholes they've invented in terms of contracts, other stuff like that, selling the hotel to another group for 75 million. These guys are smart money people.
They also boiled a lot of piss, which I'm always in favour of.
Yeah, which they did. That you take X out of the equation, you probably get a much more balanced overview of what's going on. These guys are smart. They know what they're doing. We don't necessarily like the way they're going about it, but on the pitch, if we'd been third or fourth, had a better season, there'd be a lot less noise, a lot less hysteria. The fact that football's been massively disappointing in terms of what we've done this season, that's why there's a lot of noise. But I think these guys are smart. They know what they're doing. They're not going to throw £1 billion down the drain just because it's funny. Just because, oh yeah, here's £1 billion. Let's go piss.
I love and admire your optimism. I'm not sure if I entirely agree with your assessment of the current board in terms of them knowing what they're doing. These are hedge fund people. They don't think twice about chucking £1 billion down the drain, and they don't really know. They don't really know much about anything other than making money. That's what they know. They don't know about football.
That's what they're here to do now. Here to make money. They're not here to be a little player.
Well, I know, and I mean that's my point. I mean, the simplest thing, as we've always said, haven't we? You, me, and Dan, and JK, and lots of all the other mates that we have. The surest far way to make money out of a football club is to have it winning trophies. JK. That's what Roman discovered.
Completely. You'd have thought that would have been their priority. They thought they'd have looked at that and thought we have to maintain the success on the pitch because everything else falls into place. Instead of which they use Brighton as somehow a template for success, and it all falls apart it's been a learning curve, and I hope that they're at the top of the curve and learning even more. But let's see what the summer holds, because we may find that they've learned fuck all.
Well, we'll see, won't we? I'll tell you what, though. I don't know about you. Well, I think I know about Dan. Dan is definitely feeling quite positive. I mean, once I went home and thought about it and got the misery of losing a semi-final at Wembley. I mean, you'd have to be like a robot not to be miffed about that. But once I'd washed that away, I did think, well, you know what? We didn't get humped by City. We were the better team. Okay, they were leggy, but we were the better team with a decent striker or anybody who could fucking put the ball on the net. We would have won that game, JK. So I thought, I wasn't quite as down as I thought I would be. I thought, there is hope there, actually. And I agree with the point that you made. If we can get to a final and a semi-final in a season where we've been pretty pony, that does augur well. You would hope.
You would hope. But as I said, I think it depends on what they do with the close season and what injuries come back. I hope they don't just rely on the players they've got and they just think, well, actually, we're happy with them. We're not going to buy anybody else. I think because of the financial situation, I think they can invest in some more players. It's a question of whether they maintain this under 25.
Well, if they do that, we're fucked. Frankly, because it's just not going to work.
They have to be doing something, don't they? Win Stanley and Stewart. They have to be looking at some players. And this boy that they put on guard,
their own willies, Jonathan. I think that's what they look at all day.
I think that they rather than navel gazers, the gazel navers.
We should call them Tweedledee and Tweedledummer.
Yeah, or a couple of
Gareth.
Yeah. Dan, get in.
Get in, Dan.
Hinge and brackets piss pot. But we need some experience. I mean, rumor has they turned down Maddison because he was 26, which is kind of baffling. This team lacks experience. Once Silver goes, this team's got no real experience. I mean,
the average age goes down to 7.5, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Apparently, Madison hasn't been playing very well since he came back.
My stepson said he's been utter pony since the year. And apparently he hates Big Ange, but that's another story. Silver goes, that whole experience has gone from the dressing room. So I'm sure he's not particularly vocal on the pitch, but off the pitch, I'm sure he's a huge influence.
His presence as a professional, you know.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, who's the oldest player after him? Then 20. It's
got to be Trevo. Trevo, I thought.
But I wouldn't surprise me if Trevor goes in the summer.
Yeah.
We need a really good, solid, experienced player. We've got to rebuild a spine, which we've had for so many years, get a proper spine. I still think we need a first-choice goalkeeper because I don't think either Sanchez or Petrovic are good enough.
Well, I think if we're using Martinez as a kind of litmus paper, then I think, yes, you've got to find, because we got Czech and he turned out to be on a level with, that's the kind of standard Martinez and there, because and yet perhaps that's something you only get with experience, so they won't therefore buy that old. But Martinez is a kind of, he puts players off. He is such a personality.
I love him.
Me too. We're talking about him on Friday. I think he's absolutely fantastic. His antics with the crowd as well. He's also clearly a dear chap, and he expresses himself beautifully. He's an all-round excellent professional. You just get it. He's a top goalkeeper, and you can understand. He actually made Villa a better team because of him. He has so contributed to Villa's success, and then you can. There's the thing about, if the manager works and the players are all gelling together, they don't have to have the same skill set. They can get better, and this is what supposedly Poch is supposed to be good at, which is getting younger players to get better. Well, we have to see that happen. I mean, we therefore ought to give a chance to some of the academy. You really ought to give the academy a go towards the end of the season. I suppose you won't, because we're going to try to get into the Europa Conference. But I just want to see some of these. Are they talking about them being tired? For example, Washington never gets on enough. Is he not good enough? Is he not good enough? What's that about? There's a boy playing in the academy who's scored 26 goals this season. I can't remember his name. Is it McNeil? Give him a go. At least have him on the bench. At least let's see a few more of these people get some time on the pitch. It would have been a perfect opportunity at 5-0 to give a few a go rather than Gilchrist on his own. I mean, it was great that Gilchrist. I mean, the joy that we then had also supporters watching a player who's been supporting the club since he was 8 score. Let's try and replicate that. Let's try and give an opportunity to more of these kids if it's possible. Perhaps he doesn't think they're good enough. How do we know? We can't tell.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's call a temporary halt to proceedings while we have a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk all about the Arsenal.
The Arsenal.
The Arsenal versus the mighty Chelsea tomorrow. Do not go anywhere.
Real fans, real opinions.
I'm Jason Cundy, and you're listening to the Chelsea Football Fancast. Up the Chelsea!
Footballfancast.com.
Welcome back to the Chelsea Fancast. I'm Stamford Chidge, and I'm joined by the wonderful Dan Silver.
Good evening, everybody.
Been my partner in crime for many, many, many years now, and all sorts of things. And of course, the lovely Jonathan Kydd, who's gone to have his meds and a quick rub down. He's not young anymore, but he'll be back in a minute. He will be, because of course we're going to have JK's presser summary in a minute. Anyway, in the meantime, it affords me the opportunity to give a little bit of a plug for this marvelous thing here. Yes, the CFC UK fanzine, arguably the world's greatest work of literature ever. Normally because I write for it. No, it's nothing to do with it. Actually, I'm not actually in that one because I missed the deadline, but most of your favourite fancasters are in there, including Mark Worrell and Clayton Beerman, Dean Mears. Who have I missed? Mark Meehan, Clayton Beerman. I said, no, Mark Worrell, Clayton Beerman, Dean Mears, me, Mark Meehan, to name but 5. There are probably others that I have forgotten. But anyway, it's full of fancasters writing in there, and it's bloody marvellous. Anyway, if you want a copy, it's easy. You just go to a football match that features Chelsea, home or away, and you will find people selling them. And they tend to go, hurry up, it's only £1. But as the more intelligent of you will have observed, we are nearly at the end of the season, so there's not much chance of that. Do not panic. If you never want to miss a copy of the fanzine, all you have to do is subscribe to it, and you might as well do that now, because then you'll be ready for next season. If you want to subscribe, i.e. get it sent to you in the post, it's 20 quid in the UK, 45 quid in Europe, 60 quid in the rest of the world. If you'd prefer it to be emailed to you as a PDF, then it is £6 for a year's subscription, or £1 each. And you can do all of this by paying via PayPal to fanzine at cfcuk.net. Shimples. Now, the other thing that we like to go on about at this stage of proceedings is the Chelsea pitch owners. There we go. We're all Chelsea pitch owners. I've got a couple of shares, actually. How many have you got, JK?
Just the one, but I did buy it about the second day that they were announced to be out.
Did you really? I never knew that.
Yes, so 100 quid was worth, bloody hell, at least four grand now.
Yeah, I was going to say, it would have been a lot of money in those days. Mate, I love you. I absolutely bloody love you. I mean, that's fantastic. You were like one of the first people to buy a Chelsea pitch owner's share.
I was.
You're such a legend, mate. How many have you got, Dan?
One. Well, my dad got it for my 18th birthday.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Bless you. See, I've got 2 shares. I've got, I'll try and buy a few more, actually. Anyway, the point is, if you buy one, what it really means is that you will have a say in the future of Chelsea playing football at Stamford Bridge. Now, no other club has this. No other supporters have this privilege. I mean, originally Bates set it up to protect the ground from being sold underneath the club, because there were property developers, circling like vultures in those days. We had no money, but Bates was very clever, and he basically made it impossible for them to buy out from the previous, the Mears family who were there before, but also the legacy of that. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're all alcoholic yadars and against change and all the rest of it, and against Chelsea getting better or what have you. If the Chelsea pitch owners, or over 75% of them, think it's a bloody good idea to move us to I don't know, Weston-super-Mare, then they'll vote for it, and that's what will happen. But the bottom line is, if you don't have a share, you don't get a vote, you don't get a voice or any say in that. So it's very, very important to go and have one. 110 quid for an electronic share, about 107 for a framed share signed by a Chelsea player. And if you want more info, just go to chelseafc.com, Chelsea pitch owners. Search for Chelsea pitch owners. There you jolly well go. Right, now, it is time for a bit of this. There you go. The imaginary bongos are out in force. It is time for JK's presser summary.
Guess what, Chidge?
You didn't watch it?
I didn't watch it today.
No, you great lemon. So
I'm a great lemon of lemonness, because, of course, it was the matches tomorrow. That's why there is the presser.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Oh, dear. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Why didn't you just make it? You could have just made it up. Nobody would notice.
I think hey.
He says the same thing all the time.
I could just read it off the London the thingy, couldn't I? What's it called? What's that thing that Adam used to work for?
Football.London.
Yeah. I'll have a quick look, and then I'll then do that for everybody.
Well, I can tell you very quickly, and I tell you, I really like you to do it, because I've run out of gas on my vape, so I'd quite like to go downstairs and get a refill. But
yes, of course.
I can tell you, because I didn't watch it, but I read it quickly because I really wanted to know. Guess what, JK? Guess what I wanted to know?
Who was in?
Yes, because I hadn't picked my team yet for tonight. So anyway, I found out that Palmer's ill. Gusto's got a knock, as we know, because he went off on Saturday, and Chilwell clearly has broken another fingernail, because he's apparently a doubt as well. So those 3 are doubts, which doesn't bode too well. But mainly, they spoke about Jackson not being able to finish a shit. They tried to get him to talk about the Notts Forest thing, and he batted that away. What else did he? It's like the generation game. Microwave oven.
Abuse. There was racist abuse for Jackson, which is dreadful.
Oh, that's awful. Have you up to speed now?
Yeah.
You want to carry on?
Yeah. He put
Right, I'm going to go and get my vape refill.
You get your vape. He said,
hold the fort.
I will. I think we all suffer, all public people in football, because people hide behind social media. Of course, we need to be there. Social media is a good way to communicate with the good fans. But people who hide behind social media, that cannot be a reference of what the people think. I mean, personally, I don't know what everybody thinks, but I think it's absolutely appalling that his race is brought into it. It's just absurd and lowest of the sodding low. What is the matter with people? For goodness sake, just reveals their own inadequacy, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, because you always kind of feel your worst thoughts are like, oh, something like that. You think, God, this guy. You just kind of always sense, he's going to be getting abuse from faceless idiots across social media platforms who just hide behind some stupid avatar and think it's okay to just say whatever they want to say. I mean, it's just mindless, utter stupidity. I mean,
the trouble is,
what are we doing still?
You wonder whether there's some kind of education going on about for players, young players is what they all are, about how to deal with being abused, and whether they're just told to keep off it. The trouble is, it's so difficult when all their mates are on it and they want to be on it, and that's what they've been doing since before they were well-known professionals with a top Premier League side. So it's they can't help but see it, I suppose, because it just goes straight to their feed. I wonder whether they're all advised to have somebody to step in and filter it for them. Yeah. I wonder if that's the case. Saying Chidge, I wonder if that's the case, whether they have people that they employ, or the club suggests they employ, to filter all the social media for them, so they don't actually suffer it themselves, or whether they just hope that they're adult enough to deal with it, because it is.
I don't know is the honest answer. I mean, I know the trust, didn't they, Dan? We used to talk to the club about, whenever Chelsea, said something on Twitter that was in support of, for example, the work that Tracy does with the LGBTQ plus. You were just getting masses of homophobic and anti, whatever, just horrible stuff. And we used to say to them, surely you can do something about this. And they always say, oh, we don't know how to. That was pretty much it, wasn't it? Huh?
Yeah, you block them.
They wouldn't even do that.
Because I know I don't know how much players see. I mean, because, if you look at the amount of notifications they must get, I mean, do they actually read it all? Do they talk about it?
They have PR people. They're PR people doing it. They're not on it, are they? Surely.
No, there's companies out there that take care of football social media for them, because if you're top footballer, you must get thousands and thousands and thousands of notifications, messages, stuff like that. Just filter out the OnlyFans
for you. I tell you,
Let's go on to the. He then says he was asked a question about Arsenal's settled side, and he says, yes, it's true, being consistent is having all of the players fit or higher percentage during the season, which I presume he's implying is what the case is with Arsenal, which case is it the medical staff. They've got this new bloke, isn't it, who clearly thinks that Colwell's toe injury is worse than anything else. Anyway, I'm being unfair. Is it going to be a challenge for the next season? He said, it is going to be a challenge for the next season. Being consistent is having all of the players fighting for a place on the pitch. It's true we didn't have the possibility during the whole season, for different circumstances, to have the squad available to compete. We cannot complain. That happens in football. We need to accept that. But at the same time, you hope that the manager can weave his magic with what he has. But yes, that's a good point. He then was asked about on the tight turnaround. He said it's impossible to change. We're involved in the Carabao Cup until the end, and now the FA Cup nearly until the end. It's not the best thing, but we need to accept. Well, I have to say the opposite. It's definitely the best thing. It's good that they're involved with these things. Of course, you have to accept that. So you just have to get on with it and hope that the squad deals with it. Hope that you've got players in every position that can come in, or you are decent enough to create something, create an atmosphere, create an attitude, a momentum that means you carry on winning. or at least performing to the best you can, performing to a high standard. He put on Jackson misses. We were talking yesterday and he was tired. For fuck's sake, more than he normally is, because the team wanted to win. No shit, Sherlock. The players wanted to go to the final. Yes, Poch. He is young and needs to live this type of situation to improve. Well, that's saying fuck all, isn't it, really? On Terry being inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame. Well, he must have been.
I hate him. He used to beat us all the time when I was Spurs manager.
He must have been thinking that. It's exactly what I was about to say. He's probably thinking, "Oh, don't have to
Wanker."
say it." Yeah, wanker. Through gritted teeth, fantastic player. Congratulations to him. Well deserved. As if he can say anything else. On the draw with Arsenal. The circumstances are completely different, but now is the end of the season. They're playing for the Premier League. We need the 3 points to be in another position in the table. We're 2 or 3 games behind all of the teams above us. It's important to try and win games like this to be close to European competition next season. Well, that's just an obvious response. On the mood.
Stating the bleeding obvious, mate.
On the mood, he is. The mood is good. We played a very good game. Yes,
Yeah,
they did.
They did.
So well against a team that's one of the best in the world. Yeah, they were on their uppers, but one of the best in the world. Our performance was really good. Very positive things we need to take. We conceded a goal we shouldn't concede, but that's part of football. No, it's part of your ability to put the right people on the pitch at the right time, you nerd. Of course, that is a good thing to keep working in this way. And that is the way we need to be in the future. What, giving a goal away at the end of the game? No, thank you. How can we get this level is by working. Yes, and we've heard that before. Taking decisions, no shit. Trying to add to the team things that can help us to improve the level, and we're working on this.
Like scoring goals.
This is him. This is Poch waffling. We know this man. He's just talking bullshit. It is the first season with so many circumstances we're dealing with, which is sort of meaningless. The evolution is good-ish. Okay. The Forest statement. Guess what, Chidge? Guess what?
I do not want to talk about stuff that doesn't involve my games.
Exactly. And it doesn't want to be involved. He says, I do not want to be involved in a matter like this. For me, the most important thing is to talk about my games and my club. Yeah. He wanted a response about the referees, really. On Arsenal, we're confident in one day. He's been asked this question before, but he's asking, we're confident in one day getting the same level, of course. We're positive and always in football. The most important thing is to believe. Arsenal a few years ago, they were in a different situation than today. But in time, with confidence and trust in him, Arteta, they are there. Here, it is not a different thing. So he's equating us with Arsenal, which is a bit worrying, but never mind. On Jackson, first season is always difficult for players. Okay. More when you are a striker and have to score goals. Okay. I think he's our main striker.
I think. I like that.
He's not quite sure. I think he's our main striker. Only striker we have fit, because Nkunku nearly didn't play in the whole season. And then Broja moved to Fulham. I think you sent Broja there as well, I think, actually, Poch, because he was completely awful. He played as if he had a tractor up his arse. Jesus Christ. He's doing fantastic. Who is Broja? No, he's not. Oh, he's talking about Jackson. He's doing fantastic. An amazing job for the team, running, scoring goals, didn't do that at the weekend, and giving assists. In his first season, a young guy, he's doing fantastic. Not even fantastic. Fantastic he's doing. On Silver's future, I think he was saying after the game, there is no time to talk in that moment. In the moment he wants to communicate things, he will. In the moment he wants to communicate things, he will, and the club. We're trying to go high in the table. At the moment, there's nothing to communicate from our side. In other words, he's off. On Chewell and Gusto injuries, Mallow suffered a minor problem on his knee. Once again, I am not a doctor. No, we know that, Chid. We know that, Poch. But we'll try and translate it. Yes, we'll trying to translate you. I hope it's not a big issue. Chile also after the national team. Oh, it's the same problem he's been suffering with in the last few weeks. So he's blaming playing for England again on Chile. Blimey. God, that one's going to run and run, isn't it? At least I suppose the advantage is Cucurella is playing a lot better. So
yes, he's
playing more like the player that we saw at Brighton. You've got to
tell you what about Cucurella.
Yeah.
For all of his ineptitude, he gives 100%, mate. He gives 100%. He puts it about, sticks his foot in, doesn't he, Dan?
Yeah, tenacious. I think he's been vastly improved since he's come back from injury. You
Yeah.
can't, apart from that little brain fart against Newcastle, but it happens. You try to anticipate, you get done by a bit of skill, but I think he's done really well. The cross for Jackson against Everton, it looks like the 60 million quid we paid Brighton for him,
Yeah.
And even the fans are beginning to get back on side with him because there's a few people doing the Cucurella chant while I was at Wembley, so the fans are maybe getting a bit back on side with him.
And it's Super Poodle. Super Poodle FC. By far the greatest left back the world has ever seen. Well, maybe not yet.
Chelsea have ever seen in 2023. Anyway, it rhymed with
needs work.
Yeah, it does. On if Palmer's out of the Arsenal game today, no, he cannot play. We will see tomorrow morning. Today, I don't believe he can be involved. Even if he is good tomorrow, maybe he's not in a condition to play. We hope he can recover from the situation and be involved with the team, which means he'd probably be a sub, I reckon. I think that's it. That'll do.
There we go. Good work, my son. Good work. Now, you've segued perfectly into your favourite part of the entire week, which, of course, is this, JK. Yes.
Hang on.
What?
Oh, I've just taken that screen off football.net. Oh, Chidge. It's your selection.
It is. It's the Chidge's team selection versus Chelsea versus the Arsenal. And, okay, I'm working on the assumption that Palmer, Gilchrist, and who's the other one who's out? Palmer, Gusto. Palmer, Gusto, and Palmer and Gusto. Chilwell are all out. I wouldn't have picked Chilwell anyway because I think Cucurella's worth his place at the moment, so he would be my left back. Silver and Chalobah, without a doubt, the best defense, centre back partnership we've got who are fit. No Gusto, I'd put Gilchrist in all day long. Not Dizazi. Now, I think Enzo is not fit. I think Enzo is half the player he is when he's not fit. Notwithstanding, I don't think he and Moises are any good. Moises, get out of here, are particularly brilliant as a two. We know that Gallagher can do that job very, very well. I think it balances quite well between Gallagher and Caicedo as the two in the midfield. So I would put Gallagher and Caicedo in there. If Palmer ain't fit, which it looks like it, then I would put Chukwuemeka in the number 10 role, a position he's played for us before, and I think he's quite a decent player. Quite interested to see him there. The shit Ronaldinho gets a start because, apart from me being rude about him, I think he's rather decent. Why not? He'll give them trouble. Will they have Zinchenko on the left, do you think, Arsenal? That would be quite funny, having Madueke up against him. Anyway, so Chukwuemeka would be the 10. I'd have Madueke in there. And then really, I've said Mudryk because I just can't bring myself to pick Sterling. But, I mean, after the performance or the lack of performance he put in on Saturday, it's giving me second thoughts. But anyway, I suppose what you could do is you could put Jackson there and Sterling up front, but I'm not particularly enamoured of that. Arsenal, big physical side, by the way. So I don't think that would really suit Sterling. So I've gone Mudryk, Madueke, and Jackson. I mean, as Poch said, he's shit, but he's the only option we've got, really. I mean, Washington, not in a game like this.
No
chance.
It's really a choice between Jackson or Sterling, and I think Sterling, apart from the fact he can't fucking score, does offer a lot more than Sterling. At least Jackson can hold the ball up, and then you just got to hope that Chukwuemeka, Madueke, Gallagher, dare I say it, Mudryk have got their shooting boots on. But yeah, it's very annoying. I mean, Palmer not being available or fit, not good at all. Gusto not being fit, arguably two of our best performing players this season. So this is a bit of a hammer blow, folks. Gilchrist is good, but he's not as good as Gusto, and Chukwuemeka is good, but he's not as good as Palmer. So I fear that we are putting in a somewhat weakened team into the den of a team that are very good, very big and physical, and are definitely going to be bang up for it because they got to win every game to have a sniff of winning the title. So it's going to be a tough match tomorrow. I hope that this lot are going to be good enough to do it, JK.
It's interesting. Where do most of their attacks come down for? I suppose they come both flanks, don't they? Because the Trossard played very well at the weekend. You had him coming from the left, but you've got what's his face, the England winger on the right,
Saka.
Yeah, Saka. Yeah, because he's a good player and he cuts in a lot. So it'd be Cucurella and Silver dealing with him. I don't know if he's going to play. I'm afraid, Chidge. I think he'll play Enzo for that reason, because I think he'll try to get Enzo to block anything coming from the right there. So I think he will play. And I don't think he'll play Mudryk because Mudryk was so awful at the weekend. I think he tends to respond to previous matches, does Poch. So I think he'll play Sterling there. Even though I think Sterling is a spent force and we need to get rid of him as soon as possible. So I think it'll be Enzo, Gallagher, Caicedo. And I'm afraid I think he'll pick Disasi instead of Gilchrist. If he's got the winger there, if he's got Madueke up there, he doesn't need to overlap, which of course Disasi never does because he's too cumbersome to do that. So you lose another attacker. You lose the fluidity of the excellent Gusto. But so he has a winger there to deal with it. Occasionally he won't have the winger because he played Palmer there before with Gusto, and Palmer then came more into the middle. But I think if you have the out and out winger, I think you'll play Disasi just because of the height thing. But it's become more and more apparent to me that Disasi is not a player for the future, just because of his lack of mobility. Even playing centre half, I don't think you can have that anymore. But yeah, other than that, Chidge, I think Cucurella will play absolutely. Yeah. So I think the three changes from that, but I'm willing to be turned over in this situation. I hope you're right. Really, it'd be nice to play Chukwuemeka, but because he needs to have a go because he's shown flashes of excellence actually as the season's gone on. Also, he's been injured as well, the poor chap. But yeah, I would suspect he'll go with Enzo, Sterling, and Disasi out of that and your team there. Not that I would like it. I'd like it to be your team.
Indeed. Thank you very much, JK. I fear you may be correct on all the points that you made there about what Poch might pick. Dan, what do you reckon about my selezione?
I think Sterling will be in for Mudryk. I don't think Carney will start because he's not been fit enough and he hasn't played for that. So I think probably Enzo, as JK said. And I also fear Disasi, disaster at right back. I think he's going to go strong, solid. And I don't think he's brave enough to start Gilchrist. And Chukwuemeka's don't think he's match fit enough to start. Because again, we're down to from having a half decent bench to struggling again, aren't we? Because of all the injuries. So Sterling will come in. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm getting that season when we stop Tottenham win the league. Just don't let him win. I don't care if we shithouse a boring 0-0. I remember we played Bournemouth just before and they were saying beat fucking Tottenham. You better.
Yeah, we were there. We were there, weren't we?
Yeah.
You, me, and Martin.
Yeah, and then we go and
brilliant match.
I mean that Stamford was rocking that night. I'd just be very good just to at least a point, just to take Arsenal out the equation. That's our bragging rights for the season. How sad it is we're going to stop Arsenal win the league.
Oh yeah, but it's worth it.
And then we can sing any team in London 2 European Cups ad infinitum for the last 5 minutes as we're 2-0 up.
Well, I do you know what? He could do something left field. I've just been thinking about this actually. If you do go to shithouse, he might play Silver, Chalobah, and Disasi as centre backs. Play three at the back, or basically 5 at the back.
Yeah.
And then Cucurella and maybe Gilchrist as kind of wing backs, but actually 5.
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
Possibly, or maybe Chalobah maybe steps into defensive midfield. Maybe.
I don't see him doing that. I don't think he knows that he can play there. Although I could be wrong. He might have put him there before. I mean, Chalobah could play right back, but I don't know. 3 at the back. They got a lot of pace. Arsenal. We've got Silver in there as well against a very pacey side. You can see him going, we might get done here.
Deep.
Whereas if you play, you stick Disasi in as a third centre back. Who do you lose out of that then? Probably Chukwuemeka.
Yeah.
So
unless they get somebody to sit on Odegaard, because Odegaard's their key man. If you can get somebody literally to sit on Odegaard for most of the match, push Saka down so he can't cut in, very deep, low block. That's the only way to beat Arsenal.
If you took Chukwuemeka out to accommodate Disasi coming into a back 3/5, then you'd have Mudryk in the 10, Jackson on the left, and Madueke. Or you basically Mudryk it's effectively that you're playing with either two, Madueke and Mudryk up behind Jackson, possibly
two number 10s, kind of.
Yeah, or like a false number 9, I suppose. But because if we defend for fucking England and try and hit them on the break, that might be a way to beat them.
Well, like Villa did. Villa had a great blueprint, didn't they? They peppered it in the first half. Second half, they were just, superb. Villa against Arsenal. So yeah, there is a blueprint there.
And he has pulled a 3/5 at the back out of the bag recently, hasn't he? Can't remember who he did it against now.
To be fair, this season, Arsenal at home should have won it. City, home and away, have done well. Man U at home, we've done pretty well against the bigger sides this season. So maybe there is a performance in there tomorrow night.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it, shall we? Having seen my wonderful, wonderful team selection. As I said a minute ago, Arsenal will be bang up for this, JK. It's Chelsea. They're at home, and they really do have to win every match to be in a sniff of the title. However, their recent form, they had a bit of a mini wobble. I mean, they beat Brighton 3-0 away back in the beginning of April, but Brighton are not that good. They're very up and down at the moment. They had that 2-2 draw against Bayern at home, and Bayern should have won that. They really should have won that match. They did a typical Tuchel. They were very solid and numerous at the back, and were hitting Arsenal on the break with pace. And they should have scored more goals. They should have won that game. They then lost at home to Villa, as Dan was saying, and Villa had a very clever game plan there, where they didn't go at them. They just picked them off, and then really made it difficult for them. And then Bayern shithoused their way to a 1-0 win at home in the Allianz. Again, part of the game plan totally. Obviously we didn't see this because we were too busy being at the semi-final, but they were very well worth their 2-0 win against Wolves. I mean, it should have been more. They were in pretty much complete control of that, from what I understand. So maybe they're back, because Wolves are a bit of a nuggety side, so they're no pushover. But I just think, we probably have several schools of thought about Arsenal, don't we? On the one hand, they're a decent side. They're a much better side than they were last year. They got a bit of bollocks to them, and they are a big physical side as well. They got a lot of pace. So either they will have learnt from last season about bottling it and choking at the last minute and be determined to go all the way, or they'll do the same again and they'll choke it. And of course, we will know a lot more by this time tomorrow night. But it's so hard to know. It's so hard to know which, what it's going to be for this side. It does worry me that they're going to be bang up for this. And with our injuries going into this, if we'd have gone in with a full strength side, as in what we've just had in the last week or two, I'd have been a bit more confident. But that Palmer going, Gusto going, that worries me. It really does worry me, even if Arsenal's form seems to be failing recently.
Without Palmer in the side, the magic has gone, really, isn't it? Because he delivers the unexpected. He delivers those key passes, and he didn't have a huge influence in the semi-final, but he still supplied some wonderful little put-throughs, and just his time on the ball and his ability to put people in is just fantastic, as well as his great skill. But no, that without those two, it's looking pretty hopeless. So one just goes in and grits one's teeth and hopes that as a fan that we can somehow scrape something out of it. I mean, the trouble is if we do get the opportunities to score, are we going to put them away anyway? Given the fact that that's been one of the major problems of the season,
without our top goal scorer.
Without our main contributor, absolutely. Unless Jackson ups his game, which that's unlikely, isn't it? I mean, it's all pointing to a loss, and it's just a question of managing it, really. Because, as you say, Chidge, they are really going to be hugely up for it. They're up for it because it's us anyway, and they're up for it because they need to win to maintain their title fight. So it's going to be hairy.
You going?
Of course. I mean, having said that, the way the season has panned out, we might structure something. He might have a theory of dealing with them. He's a bit of a dark horse, Poch, that way. Occasionally you think he's not doing anything, and he's certainly not doing his man management. His game management is occasionally all over the place. But I always think he starts with reasonable tactics to at least with an attitude of making something work. That was meaningless what I just said then. What I mean is he starts with he seems to have a plan. I mean, playing Gallagher up front on the wing was something you'd never have thought about, really, playing so far forward. So he'll have looked at them and worked something out. I just fear their ability to score goals at all times during the game is that we'll run out of puff. And if we are in the lead,
and they press so much.
Yeah. Well, that may be the advantage because of the we are getting better at playing out from the back. We definitely are. However, by then it may be too late if we make a mistake.
Well, I mean, I know. Sorry, mate. Go on.
Particularly if Desazi's playing.
Yeah. Well,
it's such trouble with the whole business of playing out from the back every time.
Well, this is why I mean, I can see that my late thought about playing three at the back might make sense, but I picked Gilchrist because I think he's better. Dan, I know you wanted to come in on anything anyway, but I was going to ask you a question actually as well, which is we're talking about Arsenal being bang up for it. I mean, as supporters, we can't even comprehend a Chelsea side not being bang up for it playing in a London derby against Arsenal. But, will they be up for it? Will they be down after the semi-final? Our season's effectively over. Will they be on the beach? Or will they be up for it? They fucking better be.
Well, it's a very young, inexperienced team who don't know really what it means. That's a problem. But going back to what JK said, Poch had a plan against City and it worked very well. Just got let down by finishers. So I think he'll have a plan. And they've got Spurs on Sunday, Arsenal. So it's a big week for them. We just got to put in a performance, turn up, be brave. That's what I mean about experienced leaders. There's nobody there, back in the day, John Terry going, this is fucking Arsenal, we do not lose. There'd be some in that dressing room, what it means to put on that blue shirt, what it means to play for Chelsea. There's no one doing that at the moment. That's a problem. I just hope they just show a bit of fight. Just don't lose. I don't care. I'll take a point today. I'll take a point now. I know it's defeatist, but just don't embarrass ourselves. Get a point, fight, show a bit of pride. Still got a chance to get into Europe, end the season on a high to get into next season with momentum. It's all about. We need to go for momentum. If we end up with like 3 or 4 raggedy ass defeats, we're getting back into next season with nothing. Yeah. Get the momentum going. Desire, hunger, 100% effort. That's all I want. No bullshit, no mealy mouse, pulling out tackles, go in there, kick some asses, basically.
I mean, how good would it be to ruin their party?
I love it. Absolutely brilliant.
We go mad. The away fans go completely mad.
I'm really gutted. I can't go tomorrow. I mean, I could have got a ticket, and I mean, I'm working 8:30 till 8 tomorrow. There's just no way I can go. I have to cancel clients and all that kind of stuff, which I can't really do. So I'm really gutted because I mean, I share in your abject negativity about the whole scenario. But this is Chelsea, and I've got a nagging feeling in my bones that we might just kind of... I mean, somebody, I think it was Elliot, the lovely Elliot, actually, who we hear a lot from, said something that made me feel lovely and warm and fluffy inside. And I can't find it now. Here we go. It was Rich Moneymakers. I take it all back. Elliot, you do make me feel lovely as well. I should haste to have. But Rich Moneymakers, remember, guys, when Aston Villa thought they would beat us, we won 3-1. Laugh out loud. So yeah. I mean, we could surprise everybody. We really could. But and I'd love to have been there. It reminds me of that when we went up in the Capital One Cup, Dan, and we took loads up there. We've had some great nights up there, taking the piss, haven't we? It'd be lovely. It would be lovely to shit on their parade. I would love it. I would love it in Kevin Keegan style.
And think, is there a fire duel with 10 minutes to go when we're 2-0 up and they're all empty to go and get their coffees?
Yeah. I can't stand the Arsenal. It'd be lovely to
hate him. To be fair, if Poch can get a result there, that will certainly get him some brownie points. Because this is like that Spurs match. We cannot let Arsenal win the league.
I mean, the funny old thing is we've got a weird old record up there. I mean, of course, in the Premier League, I hasten to add, because as we all know, football was invented in 1992. But in total, throughout history, our total record against Arsenal is we've won 66 games, drawn 59, and lost 83. There are not many teams that we've lost more games against than won. Arsenal are one of them. In the Premier League, away, we have won 7, drawn 9, lost 15. But most of this, as you, JK, you, Dan, and me all remember with absolute horror, is the spell between 1992, where we didn't win there. From 1992 to 2005, in the league, we didn't win there. The first victory was 2005. But it was Mourinho that came in and sorted that schnozzle out. I mean, I know we beat them in the Champions League quarter-final, which was joyous, and of course we beat them with the 5-0, didn't we, in the League Cup in '98, I think. But basically, they had the Indians sign over us for years, and it used to really give me the right royal hump. But then Mourinho stopped that rot, and then we started to they never won against us. And recently, it's been up and down all around. I mean, if I could just go back to 2016, we won 1-0 up there. Then there was the horrendous 3-0 away. Dan, we were there when Conte. Yeah, absolutely. Then we drew, then we lost, then we won, then we lost, then we won, then we lost. So it's been all over the place in recent years. And more recently, we've been on the end of it, home or away. I mean, we drew Toul at home, obviously, this year, or last October. We lost 3-1 to them away last season, lost 1-0 at home last season, and we lost 4-2 at home to them. So we've been on a bit of a receiving end of it recently. So Lord knows what would happen. I have a few statistics for you. Yes, I do. Just one or two. Yeah, there we go. Arsenal got 1 defeat from their last 8 Premier League head-to-heads with us. 1-5, drawn 2. This is a great stat. Arsenal have lost just 1 Tuesday Premier League home game. Tuesday night when they played on Tuesday night, dating back to 2005. They've won 11, drawn 7. A run which includes a 3-1 head-to-head win here last season, which I just mentioned. As Dan said, we're just 3 points behind 6th place, having played a game fewer. We're also unbeaten in 8 of the top flight matches, 1-4, drawn 4. That are our longest such run since March 21. But we're yet to beat a side currently in the top 4 this season, drawn 4, lost 2, which is great, isn't it? And oh my God, talking of Tuesdays, we've lost 4 of our last 5 Premier League away games on a Tuesday night, drawn 1. And 11 of Chelsea's last 12 Premier League away games saw both teams score. Well, we know that because we always conceded 2 until Saturday. So Lord knows what's going to happen. Dan, how do you see it going, mate?
2-2.
2-2.
Yeah, I just think we'll have a bit about us. I don't know. I don't know. I just cannot lose to them. Cannot lose to them. I mean, there's 3 teams in the title: Liverpool, City, but not Arsenal. Just not Arsenal.
I am in complete agreement with those sentiments. JK, what say you, old bean?
The voice of doom, the Cassandra of the FanCast.
The Jonah.
Jonah. Yeah. No whale involved. 3-0 to them.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh. Well, I had 2-1 in my Prem predictions, where I've got actually I should mention the Prem predictions. Yeah, I've gone for 2-1 in the Prem predictions, but I'm on a bit of a bad run. I'm having a bit of an Arsenal wobble actually, Dan. Whereas Dan is currently in 7th, and the best thing about it is that he is above Chris Sutton.
I saw that today.
You are our only hope, Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to you. It's all up to you, Dan. No pressure. You've got to stay above Sutton because I've drifted back. Kerry's drifted back. He had a good run recently, but it was you, Kerry, me were the top 3 fancasters. Yeah. But you're above Sutton, so
Good.
don't let us down. Don't let it slip.
I can't. I've got to beat him.
Yeah, too right, mate.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I went 2-1 in the Prem predictions. But that was before I found out that Palmer and Gusto were not playing. You know, I'm of a mind. I quite like Dan's 2-2 actually. I just got a feeling we might shithouse something here. You know, I really do. I'm going to stay 2-1 just to even it up. Dan's going for a 2-2 draw. I'm going to stay with my 2-1. JK's going 3-0, 3-0. Let's hope you're wrong, JK, and Dan's wrong. Well, actually, I mean, you know, I'd take a draw. That's you know, absolutely, I'd take a draw all day long.
I've been called a curmudgeon by
Caroline. Harsh but fair.
Harsh but true.
Harsh but fair. Harsh but fair.
I call myself a gnarly curmudgeon.
A gnarly old curmudgeon. Yeah, you could do. Yeah.
I like that.
You could certainly do that. Right, you lovely people. That, I'm afraid, is all we've got time for tonight. Now, normally I have a nice graphic where I say what's going on, but I forgot to do one today. Sorry. But I can tell you that JK and I shall return. As they say, what's to say the Bond films? JK will be back. Did they say that? No, we'll return.
Return. It's always will return in the next episode, and then and then they give the title of the film, don't they?
Yes, yeah. JK and Chidge will return this Friday. In fact, is when we're going to return because we'll be back.
Diamonds are forever.
Diamonds are forever.
Forever.
Yeah. Anyway, so here we go. Me and JK will be back on Friday at 7:30, joined by Martin Wickham. Yeehaw! Can't wait. Love Martin. And, of course, we'll be looking ahead to the match against Villa. And we will have an opposition view because one of our favourite oppositions will be with us as well, which is the wonderful Justin. So Justin's going to be with us from the Villa. So there you go. And we're playing them on Saturday evening. So there we go. Now, a quick shout out for In Off the Post. If you want your email, Patreon or Instagram post or tweet read out on the show, we will do a show when we've got enough. The email address is chelseafancast@gmail.com. And to get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/Chelsea Fancast. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and you will help support the Chelsea Fancast. Whoop, whoop. Now, you can follow the show on all the social media at Chelsea Fancast, me at Stamford Chidge, Jonathan at Jonathan Kydd, and
with
Dan.
With a Y. Kydd with a Y.
Kydd with a Y. Absolutely. Jonathan Kydd. Is where you'll find him, and of course Dan at Dan Sills 73 in it.
Is it? Yeah,
in it. It is. Yeah. It is. Dan, lovely to see you, mate. Sorry I didn't see you in the Victoria on Saturday. You had better people to be with by the sounds of it.
Yeah, we was at Wembley Way at JJ Moon's with paying like £4.50 for a pint, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I was driving, so it wouldn't have been too beneficial to me. And I'm a creature of habit, as you know. I do like the Vic. Yeah. So I decided to go.
It was nice. Got to see. It wasn't too busy. Saw like Tracy, Phil, Mari, Ben, Simon Kirby, all the normal crowd. So it was good.
Lovely.
It was like a mini cock in Wembley.
You had a mini cock in Wembley?
Literally, yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, they're a good crowd, that lot. I'm very fond of them.
Nice bunch of people, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's all right. I mean, I was with Nick and Pablo and Sam and Sash, so we had a nice time. So there we go. JK, lovely to see you. Oh, by the way, sorry, JK, did you get a ticket for tomorrow, Dan?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, some game.
Good man. Yeah. Good man. Good stuff. JK, I know you're going. Enjoy yourself tomorrow, and sing up. I want to hear renditions of "You're a Shit, Ronaldinho." No, I don't want to hear that at all, really. Maybe Super Poodle rendition of Super Poodle.
Yeah, Super Poodle. He's what? No, hang on. How does it start?
And it's Super Poodle.
Super Poodle FC, you're the finest. sort of left back, come
You're
winger.
the finest hairy dog
Yeah,
the world has ever seen.
hairy ring piece, dog piece. Yeah, okay.
Needs a bit of work.
You kept like Brian May running down the wing.
I like that. I like that. That's good, mate. Enjoy yourself tomorrow. Both
Thank
of you
you.
enjoy yourselves tomorrow. I'm sure you'll have a great time. I shall be watching it on my sofa, having finished work at 10 to 8. So I'm going to be cutting it fine. But there you go. Now, you lot enjoy the match as well, of course. And, of course, thank you for either listening or watching or both this show. We love the fact that you do. And we cannot thank you enough. We really can't. So we won't try. Anyway, we will be back on Friday, as you know. Until then, keep it blue, keep it carefree, and keep it Chelsea.
Yeah.